let's go. Action. Oh, watch out, we're back. Right, now, today I want to do something that I think I should have done in the last video. I did the saddlebag restoration video and it appears I left a little something out, and that was an explanation of plastic welding. Now I assumed that because I've done 2 videos in the past on plastic welding that you knew what you were doing, and obviously that's a long time ago. I took a look in the back list and they are actually 5 years, 5 years old. It was 5 years ago I did a video how to plastic welding. It was just a bucket. I showed you how to plastic weld it using a soldering iron and some cable ties, and I also did a second video about a month later on one of those little panel like repairs where you get a panel on the side of a motorcycle and they pull off with those little plastic posts on them, the ones that like to snap off for a pastime. I showed you how to repair one of those and plastic weld it back in place nice and strong. Now that was honestly 5 years ago, and I suppose when we looked at the comments box, it seems to have come about that many of you said, show us how you do that. I've never seen it. You didn't say anything about it. One person got quite upset actually and decided to get quite funny about it because we didn't explain the process. Now, I guess in some respects when you find a new channel and you start watching it, you're not going to start watching videos they made 5 years ago. Their back catalogue isn't really so important. You tend to only watch forwards, maybe 1 or 2 backwards, or maybe a series of stuff that you're interested in. But plastic welding was an awful long time ago, so I thought today a little simple skills, and it isn't in the simple skills series, so it jolly well should be. So simple skills on plastic welding. It's ever so easy. It's an amazing skill you can use in many walks of your life. So simple skills, plastic welding. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Let's get stuck in. Okay, plastic welding is one of those skills that you will use over and over again, not just on the motorcycle, not just in stuff in your car, or your plastic bumpers on your car, you can plastic weld those, and even little things. Now I'm going to use, for the purposes of this exercise, I haven't got any broken bodywork to use. If I had a broken motorcycle panel, then I could use that. But I found something, these plastic injection molded paint trays. These are exactly the same soft, squishy, nylon-based plastic that your bike panels are made from. So they're a great example. I'm going to use that. And one of these only cost a few pence, so you can buy one of these in the local DIY store and you can start practicing yourself. The tools you need for it is, first and foremostly, a soldering iron. A standard low wattage soldering iron. This is a 40 watt one. It isn't really important, the exact wattage, but I would say that a low wattage soldering iron is really important over and above a really high voltage one, purely because if it's too hot it will vaporize the plastic and actually have the opposite effect to welding it together. Welding plastic together is, now I get a lot of flaming when I do these videos because a lot of people don't believe you should plastic weld it. They think that there's a special kit you should buy, and you can indeed buy some amazing kits. They're 70, 80 pounds, some of them. They contain special plastic welding strips and special bonding cement, and they contain special tools to do it all, and you will make a fabulous repair with that. But honestly, when it's all rubbed down and painted, you don't know what's under there, and this works really well. I did those Harley saddlebags, reinforced them with some steel, and show you how to do that, got some wire as well, and it is really simple and you can do it yourself for nothing. It's just one of those pennies jobs. So, pennies jobs, did you see what I said there?
Yeah, clever.
First thing I need to do is make a crack in the plastic. This is obviously a paint tray, cost me 10p or something, so I'm going to just use a little hammer, just on the corner of it. There it is. Now that is how your motorcycle bodywork will break very easily. You just bash it on the ground and it just cracks, simple as that. So we're going to plastic weld this back together. Can you get, if I stand where I am, can you get in close on this? Mm-hmm. Okay. The actual process of doing it yourself, I use cable ties. Cable ties because, to be quite honest, a plastic cable tie is the same material as your bodywork. Motorcycle bodywork is fundamentally made from nylon. It's an injection molded nylon composite, which is really boring. Unless you've got certain Laverdas which are fiberglass, but you'll know that and you can fiberglass them. It's really easy. The nylon bodywork's ever so easy to plastic weld. So we start with these. What I tend to do whenever I use a cable tie, as you know, you cut off the lion's share of it. You snip it off once it's done up, and you've got that much that goes in the bin. Well, I save them. I chuck them in the toolbox, and I've got loads of them, and they cost nothing then. So I'm going to use one of these, and on this, can you see that there, Pen?
Yep.
On that crack in the corner, that is typical of the kind of crack you'll get in your bodywork or in a piece of plastic. We're going to plastic weld that up, show you how it's done. First thing we need to do though is consider safety. See, these plastics are made from various chemicals, the nylons, polymers, that sort of thing. I'm not a chemist, I don't know, maybe one of you guys can tell me what they're made from, but I do know that when you burn this stuff, it's a bit like burning foam in a sofa. It's pretty dangerous. They emit a gas, and then amongst those different gases that will come out of that when it's burning is hydrogen cyanide. Hydrogen cyanide isn't just dangerous, it's just outright deadly. It will kill you in an environment that's got no ventilation. So we're going to open the garage door for this video. We're going to make it nice and ventilated in here. We're going to stick a mask on while I do it. And I'm going to try just to get started, just to show you the basic principle, and then once we get away and I'm showing it, I'll get a mask on and you can see how it's done. First things first, soldering iron. When you've got your iron, actually that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug it in over here. Don't know why, but this soldering iron comes with a ridiculously short lead. So I want to show you first of all, just on the actual plastic itself. If I just, this is up to temperature now. If I just touch that on there, you can see straight away that it melts into it immediately. It just vaporizes the stuff. I won't do too much of that. Now, what we're doing is, we come to the crack area here. Are you in on this, Ben? Mm-hmm. So where the crack is there, the first thing to do is get it lined up so that the actual crack is back in its position. I'm just going to come along, actually I'll tell you what, pop a mask on first. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just show you the actual process of running along that crack with the iron and stitching it together. And the action is to feed the hot iron into the plastic and then lift it back and feed it in again and back, feed it in again, actually shoving the plastic up on itself as you go, just causing it to melt together. So that's the first job on show me. Right, so I hope you can see that. Are you close enough? I hope you can see that. All it is, effectively, is just feeding along it. It looks a little bit like a TIG weld, if you will. You're just pushing that plastic towards itself as you go, melting your way through that crack. And once that's had a chance to cool down, that'll be quite strong. You can then just keep coming round. Come round, because this goes all the way around there. Just mask that on. Just let the iron do the work. You don't force it because you'll go right through and out the other side. But just let the soldering iron do the work. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay, so I'm sure you get the idea. That is a very simple, straightforward, basic plastic weld. And as you can see, there isn't a lot of smoke coming off it. What's important here is you don't vaporize the plastic. I want to tell you a bit about that very quickly. Was if your soldering iron gets that red hot, it's too hot, you'll just make loads of smoke and you'll burn the plastic. You're looking to melt the plastic, to re-soften it into a liquid form, but without overheating it. And I think, like with all these simple skills, most of them are just that, simple skills that you can do yourself. But there's always don'ts as well as do's. And one of the don'ts with plastic welding is don't overheat it. Don't let that plastic smoke. If you can heat it and not have that big plume of smoke coming off like just now, then that plastic will stay as flexible and durable as it was when it was in one piece. I'm going to show you one more time. Use this other crack now. I'm going to do that one up. A little piece of that's broken out, so I won't do that, but I've this big crack along here. We'll just weld that up. I'll show you how simple it is. There you go. Mm-hmm. Now start at the beginning of the crack and just feed the plastic along, pushing down into it by about half its depth. Don't go any further as you'll just blow through. Hold that there. Now if you can avoid any smoke at all, this is the reason for a low powered soldering iron, because if it's too hot it will vaporize the plastic and that will make it brittle. So this will be perfect for your bike bodywork, or anything else that's important, a bumper on your car, anything like that. And there we are. Now the next thing, which I think is quite important, is wire stitching. You saw in that video on the Harley Bags, I've got some bits of wire and I heated them in. So I'm going to use MIG wire for this. All it is making a metal stitch. So if I take a piece of wire like that, let's make another crack. Take that one. So make another crack on that side there. It's quite flexible. There it is. Perfect. Right, here we are. We've got a big crack right across there. So we'll repair that. Now, if I take, I'm going to show you this. You see this, Matt? Mm-hmm. Right. We're going to take this point where the little belly button, the little navel is, and I'm going to lay the wire across there. Now you can see the principle. You lay the soldering iron on the wire picks up the heat from the soldering iron and subsequently melts into the plastic. It becomes a little stitch. You've got to be quite careful you don't push it all the way through. There is a bit of a knack to it, but you don't have to force it, because as soon as that heat generates into the piece of wire, it buries it. There we are. And a little piece of wire. Then we can just come across there and melt the plastic across that piece of wire. Now that works, doesn't it? That's pretty good. You can do that. You can take a little piece of cable tie. You can use it as a filler rod, and then just bury that piece of wire under some more. And that just adds a little bit of plastic on top, gives it a bit of depth and strength. And there we are. So that's how to add a stitch in. However, naturally, that was a straight piece of wire. So if you imagine you've got a crack like that, you have a piece of wire running across it, it can still pull out and just slide the piece of wire out. So the little trick is to curl it up like a paper clip. So if you take that piece of wire, instead of making it straight, let's go to the other end. I know this is probably fiddly. Let's come to you. So we get close up in.
Right.
Got it?
Yeah,
how's that?
See.
So I'm going to bend that round there, and we'll do the other one there. Really close-up skills, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll take the wire cutters. Now that is a wholly better clip. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
That's much better, because if the crack goes across that, you've got a loop in the crack one side and a loop the other side, and they act like a little anchor once they've been buried in. So I'll do that one as well. Take the soldering iron. Right. See the crack there?
Mm-hmm.
Again, pop it across the crack there and just lean on it. Just gently, a little bit of pressure. It'll pick up the heat almost immediately. This is MIG wire, but honestly, you can use a paper clip. It doesn't matter what the metal is, because it's going to be inside the plastic in time, and it won't get wet or corroded in there. And a steel paper clip will pick up the heat just as well as a piece of MIG wire. I only use MIG wire because that's what I've got, and that works. You just melt that in exactly the same. And all I'm going to do with this one, because this plastic's very thin, I'm going to bury that little stitch underneath lots of this cable tie. Again, another little trick. So this is something you practice as time goes on, and you will get better at it. So if you go and buy yourself a paint tray or something like that, or a dustpan and brush, any of those plastic implements that you use in the household, they're great for practicing. And once you've got that bit of molten plastic, just stroke it out till you get a nice smooth finish. You can actually make a nice attractive job of it. And there's your metal stitch. So coming across that crack, where's it go to? Right to the edge. Come right across there and pop a mask on, just a little bit smoky. So just come across that crack like I did before, all the way, and stitch it together just by feeding the plastic towards itself. Make that little stack of pennies. you can see that that now is as well repaired as it can be at that point. You can keep feeding. If it's something you need a bit more strength in, you can feed more of this cable tie in there. And if you're going to use this on a bike panel and it's got one of those little posts on, you can build up loads of this. And the more of it you build up, the better. You can put little bits of curved wire. With the saddlebags, I had a brake that went across a three-way corner. So I made a little tiny piece of wire, curled it around the pliers. Just get creative, it isn't difficult. Once you've done that, then you just burn it in and bolster it up. You'll get the crack coming through the other side, then go around the other side and just weld it across the other side as well. And you'll eventually make a really, really good job of it. But there we are, close up on there. See that pin?
Mm-hmm.
That's not breaking at all. There we go. That one. I'll try and break it. Because this is the proof of the pudding. It's alright seeing it done. I think that is about as conclusive proof as you need. I can't break into that. Remember, if you do it, I was going to say coolly enough, you don't vaporise the plastic and it will stay nice and durable and it will stay nice and strong. So there we are, Simple Skills Plastic Welding. Buy yourself a cheap soldering iron, and I mean cheap. This isn't the one I use for soldering, this is the one I use for plastic welding. It's 40 watts. You can get them lower. Honestly, that's too hot sometimes, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be a good one. I think this is about £4, wasn't it, from somewhere like Asda, you know, cheap supermarket one. And obviously protect yourself, because you can burn yourself quite badly with those. And make sure, if you're going to be melting plastic, use a decent mask and a ventilated space, because hydrogen cyanide, various other nasty gases come out of burning plastic, and they ain't good for you. Anything else, Ben?
That's it.
There we go. This is a practice thing. This is a motor skills thing, like so many of the simple skills. Once I've shown you how to do that, you can see the technique. Just feed that plastic along itself, and if you've got a soldering iron, you can get wider blades, you can get them with different heads on it. Just practice, just get creative, and you will soon, before you know it, be able to make really nice, really strong plastic welds like that without thinking. Repair all sorts of things that cost a fortune, because honestly, pound for pound, motorcycle plastics cost more than gold, don't they?
Yeah.
They really do. Anything else, Ben?
That's it, thank you.
There we are. We'll leave you with the wall of friends. Take it easy, ride safe. We'll see you next time.